Well, good morning. We're in the second half of January, so it seems like a good time to ask, how are you doing with your New Year's resolutions? Unfortunately, for many of us, those thoughts we have about making some lifestyle improvements often don't survive once the new year arrives. So if you want to make some changes in your life, perhaps you need a new approach. We'll talk about that today, and the conversation starts right now.
From TV6, this is The Ryan Report. Here's your host, Don Ryan.
Well, while New Year's resolutions may have a high failure rate, the idea of taking some significant moment in time to try to make some changes in our life is effective, and the start of a new year can be a good time. What may need to be changed is our approach. Rather than a simple resolution to change something, we need to think seriously about the changes we want to make and develop a plan to get there. If your desire is to improve your physical well-being, our guest this morning has some suggestions about how you can get there. Our guest is Brett Conklin, the owner of B-Cube Fitness. Brett, welcome to the Ryan Report.
Thanks for having me on, Don, and thank you so much for your years of doing the show. I'm sure that over the years you've impacted and informed a lot of people, so thank you for continuing to serve in this manner.
Well, thank you, and I know I've learned a lot of things in talking to hundreds of people from many different walks of life. You know, before we talk about fitness and things, let's talk about you. I always like to give our audience a chance to get to know our guests. Now, I know you're not a UP native.
I'm not a UP native, not a Youper. I like to consider myself a Youper now, though. Originally from Central Illinois.
Okay. And what brought you up here?
Well, it's a story that I hear a lot of. Someone's parent came to Northern, and you kind of follow in their footsteps, and that was my case. My dad came to NMU back in the day, and I remember back, I think when I was like 6 or 7, he brought us up here for a family vacation, and something just sort of struck me about how beautiful the UP was, and it stuck with me. And whenever I was a junior in high school, I asked him, where was that again that you went to school? And we went on a vacation, and he said, oh, you know, Northern Michigan University up in Marquette. And next thing I knew, we were in a car and we were traveling up here, and I fell in love with it again and decided to go to Northern myself. So and here I am.
And you actually got involved. Your degree was in the fitness area.
Yeah. I started out in teaching. A lot of my family are teachers or in administrative areas of education, and I thought I wanted to be a teacher. And as I went through Northern, I decided that I had a passion in fitness, and I could teach and with fitness in mind, and kind of serve in both ways. So.
And fitness was kind of a natural thing for you too. You were an athlete in high school, I believe.
Yeah, I was an athlete in high school. Growing up as a kid, and played all the sports. I go back to my youth and seeing my parents exercise, and just kind of the role modeling that they gave to my sister and me as far as leading a healthy lifestyle with eating things out of the garden that they grew. And my dad, hunted and fished, and that's the food we ate. And so I give a lot of the credit of my healthy lifestyle to my parents and just kind of my upbringing.
So you also somewhere along the line discovered you could be good at working with people and helping them understand some of this as well.
Yeah, as I went into high school, and my high school basketball coach kind of introduced me into strength and conditioning stuff, and I just had a passion for it, and I started, and I kept that through high school, and then I came up to Northern, and didn't do any athletics at NMU, but when I was working out at the fitness facility there, people would come up to me and ask me questions on things I was doing, and it just sort of, there was kind of a light bulb moment where I felt like I could actually help people for a career and the rest of my life, and in this whole fitness thing and helping people move better and feel better.
And I should mention too that along the way, somewhere in there, you also met the young woman you would eventually marry.
Yeah. Samantha, my wife, came to Northern, same type of situation. Her dad came here and graduated here, and she ended up here, and the rest, as they say, is history. Now we have two elementary school-age boys, and we just love it here, and we're happy that we can raise our boys here.
Let's jump a little bit forward. So you graduated from Northern, you got a little work experience, and then you decided to open your own business.
Yeah, I opened up B-Cube Fitness in 2008. It started out of my home and now has turned into an actual location, in Marquette. But open it up as a way to create an environment to be able to try to help people the best I could.
And there are some clues to how you approach this in the name of your organization. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so not to get too into it, but the B cubed is, B to the third power, and so it represents 3 B words: believe, become, and then bestow. And I believe that kind of for somebody to really kind of decide to make a health change, they need to believe it. They need to know that they can do it first, and believe in themselves. And then the second part is the become, is the physical part. It's the doing the work, it's eating well, it's doing those types of things. And then the final thing is kind of the bestow, the sort of the spiritual part, kind of that, not to scare people away with the spiritual word, but just sort of the heart and the soul of using the gifts that someone has given themselves physically to help someone else out. And I believe that that's kind of what really helps change people, is that when they experience that they can serve with the gift of their health. And that, I believe, is what just kind of makes people carry on an active and healthy lifestyle for the rest of their life.
And we'll go into this in more detail in just a couple of minutes, but really our objective today is not to suggest that everyone has to go to a gym.
Right.
But really it has a lot more to do with their thinking and kind of the attitude they have to bring and those kinds of things if they want to make some changes in their life. Absolutely.
You don't need a fitness facility to be healthy. I mean, go outside and be active. But yeah, it'd be my goal to just kind of turn people's minds to the why.
Okay.
The why of staying healthy.
Okay, and we'll talk about that when we come back.
Okay.
We'll be back with more on today's show after we take this 2-minute break. Once again, our guest this morning is Brett Conklin. Brett is a trainer. We're talking about fitness and things we can do to make some changes in our life if that's what we want to do. And that's kind of the key, isn't it? I was trying to think of some ideas. Some people might want to lose weight. Some people would like to get perhaps more endurance to be able to do things, a little more strength, maybe just to feel better. Are these the kind of reasons that people tend to come to see you and work with you?
Those are the reasons. Yeah, I think you've nailed it. That I hear most often. Definitely the weight loss thing is something that you hear a lot about. What I hear a lot of is just I just want to feel better. People come to me and just want to feel better, and that makes a lot of sense, because if we're in pain, you don't want to move. You don't want to be active. You don't want to live a healthy lifestyle.
Right.
And so some of the things that I hear as far as things that might keep people away from leading a healthy lifestyle are the time that it might take. It's perceived that it takes a long time to, and a big dedication of time to work out and to eat well and that type of thing, and I think that's a good a good concern for somebody to have, but the other thing would be, especially maybe the older population, that they associate exercise and movement with pain,
right?
And not necessarily the physical exertion of it all, but as our bodies age, they break down, and we have shoulders and knees and hips
right.
and backs that hurt, and but if we enter into a safe environment where we can strengthen our bodies in a smart way, we can relieve some of those pains and help people just enjoy the ability to move better.
Yeah, not to get us off track, but I've always had this philosophy that everything in life is a trade-off. You don't get something without doing something.
Right.
You don't maintain the right weight without eating properly, but you can apply that to almost everything we do in life.
Yeah.
You've
Well
got to
said.
give up something.
Well said, yeah.
So let's talk about people getting it done. You mentioned before the break that the why was an important part of this. Talk about that.
Well, we hear so much on the news or in magazines or online, why we should stay healthy. I mean, and I don't need to sit here and list all of the benefits that physical exercise gives us. It'd be easier to list the things that it doesn't do for us. I mean, but physically it helps lower blood pressure and keep cholesterol down and prevents diabetes and from a cancer standpoint, it helps prevent some cancers. And from a mental standpoint, it's been shown to increase mental awareness and mental abilities. From an emotional standpoint, it decreases stress and anxiety and depression and improves self-esteem and that type of thing. So we all know that we need to stay healthy. But what's occurred to me over the years, and why I have my philosophy that I have, is it's like we're so informed, but why do so many of us not change?
Right.
Why is it so hard? And that's where I get into the why of why we're working out. Yes, you're working, and I say working out, I also mean just living a healthy lifestyle. That includes nutrition, a lot of good nutrition. But when you experience the kind of the selfish benefits of health, and that being that you just feel better, it just gives you that better ability to go out and serve, be a better dad, be a better mom, be a better brother, sister, it helps you go out and take care of your family, your community, your neighbors, because I'm not saying that the ability to serve out in your community and in your family is all dependent upon your physical health. But to a large extent, I think it is, because if we're not healthy, we don't have the ability to go out and use our bodies to gift someone else with something.
So you have to have kind of a personal why in the game, don't you?
Right.
Because why is it important to you, not why is it important because television says it's
right.
important.
And I know that's kind of deep, and it's kind of hard to sort of wrap your head around. Personally, I believe that I've been put on this earth to serve God and to serve others, and then to serve myself in that order. And as a human being and a sinner, I get those messed up sometimes, and I try to right myself and start serving others before myself. But I don't think it matters what your faith background is, your spiritual beliefs are. It's hard to argue that we're put on this earth to just serve ourselves. And I think that serving others has a large part in our physical abilities.
And the bottom line is, again, we want to stress that we're not here just to bring clients into your business.
No, absolutely not.
These are things that people have to find their own way to do it, whether
Right.
it's working with a trainer or going to a Y, or, as you said, just being outdoors, but setting your mind to it.
Yeah, but what I encourage people to do is just to explore the why of why you think being healthy is important. Not just because your doctor says you need to lose 20 pounds, or not just because the latest research study shows that people that work out live longer or whatever. I mean, just find out all those positive benefits from exercise. How are those going to enhance your life and enhance the life of the people around you?
We'll talk about how we get there in just a couple of minutes. We'll be back with more on today's show after we take one more break. Talking with Brett Conklin, we're talking about fitness and how we can get there, and let's kind of look at that. I think one of the important things is, and you've said this, that people have to set some goals, right?
Goals are important, yeah, and that's why I like the beginning of the year, because it's a fresh start for people. I mean, New Year's resolutions, they can work if they are smart goals.
And they have to be measurable but attainable, I would think, right?
Yeah, so there's an acronym, it's SMART, and that each of those stands for something, and each is important. And I think that when you make a SMART goal, and I'll go through those real quickly here, you set yourself up for success. Because we all know that when you have success, it builds upon itself. So success
Right.
builds more success. Failure might lead into more failure. So the SMART acronym is, the S is specific. So instead of making a vague goal like I want to go to the gym more, set a specific goal like I want to go to the gym 4 days a week. If it's weight loss, if I want to lose weight, okay, well that's okay, but that's pretty vague. I want to lose 20 pounds. So pretty simple, specific. The M is measurable, like you said. So if you do want to lose 20 pounds, measurable is you can get on a scale and see where you are. If you want to go to the gym more, if you want to go 4 days a week, there you go. It's measurable. The A is attainable. So is what you want to do doable? I mean, can you do it?
Right.
You know, and sometimes some of the goals I've heard are a little, they're out there, and it's like you might want to scale that down a little bit and start with small, attainable goals.
Right.
You know, and that's a key to the attainability is small. Don't go big. I mean, have big dreams, but start with small successes, attainable goals. The R is relevant. So is it relevant to you? Is it important to you? I'll give an example for the viewers. So my goal last year, and it's actually my goal this year, is to walk outside on average 2 miles a day. You know, I know some days I'm not going to be able to get outside, but at the end of the year, I want to make sure that I've walked 2 miles a day on average. So it was specific, it's measurable. I can use my smartwatch and track, you know, every step. It's attainable. I know I can do it. And I mention this now with the relative to portion is because to me, now, yes, it does have physical benefits to walk outside. To me, it's not challenging, but that's not really why I did it. I did it more for like a mental health goal because I feel like when I get outside and get fresh air, I feel fresh and I can function better. And then the other part of that is I have 2 dogs, and I know that if I set that goal of walking outside 2 miles a day, my dogs can be healthier. But yeah, they can be healthier, and you know, healthy, happy dogs make good pets. Right. So then the third one, or excuse me, the T of SMART is time bound, and that's really important. So you know, if you want to go to the gym 4 days a week, or you want to lose 20 pounds, what's your timetable there? Don't say in, you know, a certain period of time. Well, say a certain period of time, but make it a realistic, attainable time frame.
We have less than a minute left.
Okay.
I think the point we want to make is anybody can do this, right? Age is not a factor. You work with senior citizens, I'm sure, and young people and everybody in between.
Yeah, I mean, we're never too young or too old to pick up something new and start moving and feeling better.
The goals might change depending on your age.
Absolutely. I think our goals are always evolving.
Right.
You know, our mindset's always evolving, and what we need to do to adapt to the point in our life that we're in, I think is always changing, but it's important to always have that mindset of how am I serving myself so that I can help serve others.
Hopefully the message we've conveyed today is if people want to make some changes in their life, they can do it.
They can.
And they have to check out what options are available in their community to
either
work with somebody or do it on their own and study up about it, whatever
we have plentiful options available in all the Upper Peninsula on, you know, from a health and fitness standpoint.
Thanks for coming in this morning to share this message.
Thank you for having me on, Don. Appreciate it.
I'll be back with some other thoughts for you in just a couple of minutes. So let me ask you a question. How do you feel about winter? Not just this winter, but any winter. You know, each winter does have its own character, and so far there have been some things about this winter that we don't always expect. Snow came to stay a little earlier than usual. We had some significant snowfalls in late November, early December, accompanied by some below normal temperatures, but the second half of the month we saw temperatures above the norm. But back to my question. How do you feel about winter? What I'm going to suggest is an oversimplification, but it seems to me we basically have 3 categories of thought about winter. We have people who truly enjoy this season and look forward to the opportunities it offers for skiing, snowshoeing, snowmobiling, and just being outdoors. The second category includes the people who head for warmer climes when winter descends on the area. Florida and Arizona are 2 of the most popular spots for the group that some refer to as the snowbirds. Some leave for a couple of months while others are away for almost half the year. And the third category are those people who stay here and tough it out every year, even though they really don't like this season. I think there are quite a few people in that last category. Besides the snow and cold, Winter brings the shortest days and a lot of gloomy days, and that doesn't help our attitude. There are some problems being in that last group, however, and these are the words of experience. I have to admit, I'm really no longer a winter fan. I should point out that for a lot of us, our attitude toward winter changes as we get older, and you know that. We didn't always dislike winter. When we were kids, we were happy and excited. When it snowed, we wanted to go out and play in it. As young adults, we also found ways to enjoy the season. But as time passed, we eventually settled into that category of spending the winter looking forward to spring. You know, I once worked with a guy from Minnesota named Steve. When he had the chance to retire a little early, he told his wife he planned to move to a place where there wasn't cold and snow in the winter. Not sure how it worked out because his wife wasn't sure she wanted to move away from friends and family. But Steve summed it up this way, saying, "I don't want to have to live where you just wish away 6 months of your life every year, especially as I get older and there are less of those months in my future." That idea does make sense. So let me close out this morning by offering this personal advice from someone who has spent a lot of winters here. If you don't like winter, try to approach it with a positive attitude. Don't just wish away those months on the calendar. If you don't want to ski or snowmobile, then read a book or watch a little more television while sitting in your warm and cozy house. Start working out at a gym. Join a social group or take up a hobby that you can do indoors. Or make snow shoveling and snow blowing your hobby and attack it each time with a joyful passion. We know we'll have plenty of opportunities. The bottom line is this: winter comes every year with snow and cold. So if you're not going to leave, find some way to enjoy it. Winter is just too much of our life to wish away every year. Back in a minute. We've run out of time for another Sunday. The Today Show is coming up in just a moment. Remember, you can get the latest news anytime at uppermichigansource.com. You'll also find current and past episodes of this show at that same address. Thanks to Brett Conklin for joining us this morning to share some thoughts on how we can make some lifestyle changes, and thank you for being here for the conversation. I'll be back next week. Hope you can join me then.